afternoon, everyone. My name is Martyn Rothwell. I'm a member of staff here at Sheffield Hallam University and also a PhD student. So, I suppose today what I'm going to present is probably 3 years worth of research and study. And at the minute, I'm not trying to measure anything. This is very exploratory, just trying to understand more about socio-cultural constraints, really. So the work draws heavily on the ecological psychology of Bronfenbrenner. In that we're using the bioecological model to understand more about a form of life. And we'll also draw on the work of James Gibson as well. So as that would suggest, heavily using the theory of affordances to understand about how individuals interact with different practice environments and competition environments. Okay, so a key question actually that Duarte Rouge asked 10 years ago in a special edition of International Journal of Sport Psychology was why and how do people act as they do in behavioural context? That was a question set to the contributing authors. There's lots of interesting insights there from different ecological perspectives. But really, 10 years later, we still don't really know a lot from an empirical point of view. So there has been some work around that from Louis Suara and Richard Light. So we do know a little bit in regards to talent development and coaching. But we're trying to understand a lot more and make a more richer understanding of that from performances and the bioecological model. So I suppose I've been thinking a lot about that question, even though I didn't realise it, for quite a number of years. So whilst I've been coaching, working in talent development, and then I suppose that's come to the fore when I got into academia. So using that as a start point, I suppose the aims of the PhD really is to do this. So understand more about the socio-cultural historical constraints that's been alluded to today quite a bit already, and then really wanted to understand how that influences practice, practice design and the development of individuals within those practice environments. So that's really what we're trying to do with a PhD. Just to sort of exemplify socio-cultural constraints, so if you read a lot of sort of comments and look at Steve Hansen's background, the current All Blacks coach, he talks a lot about self-regulation. Okay, all the time, a lot of comments, and what he's actually talking about is players self-regulating. So he doesn't want players that needs lots of feedback, lots of information, external information, either from a coach or a playbook. He wants players that can interact with the environment. He wants players that can self-regulate in the moment. So they make a mistake or they do something really good, and he wants players that can adjust to that. Not players that are always reliant on something or somebody else to interact with the game. So if we think about that and think about New Zealand's heritage, it's a very remote place. Sorry, so let's say if we think about the turn of the 21st century, there's a lot of farming in New Zealand, lots of remote places across the country where you haven't got access to the internet, you haven't got access to a farm around the corner. You need to work things out for yourself. You had to survive, and that might sound a bit dramatic, but that was the case. And it's perfectly logical that type of or that socio-cultural constraint can proliferate into sport performance, coaching, so it's no surprise when you read a lot about Steve Hansen that that's the sort of philosophy that he has. And that's really just to exemplify what we mean by socio-cultural, even historical constraints on performance. So we talk a lot about environmental constraints, but what we're really interested in is a section, i.e. socio-cultural. That's what we're really trying to understand more about. And if we think about that can be the socio-cultural constraints are manifest in practice and competition in regards to information. And some data I'll show you in a bit from research in rugby league. So you can make a direct link between some of the dominant socio-cultural constraints and how practice is designed and how that influences value in terms of affordances, and meaning in terms of information. So, I want to introduce now something called a form of life. So what Dan Carter is actually presenting here, or what he's explaining, is a form of life, or two very distinct forms of life. So on the one hand, he's probably explaining or discussing his form of life, or the form of life that is engaged a lot in New Zealand. So lots of autonomy, lots of engaging with the environment. It's up to you to do that and self-regulate and become responsive to the information in that environment. And on the other hand, he's probably explaining, which we can all relate to, a form of life that's very suppressive, that requires input from the coach, lots of cones that Mark spoke about on the ground, for players to be able to guide their way through practice. And as he said here, you know, he had to bite his tongue, he couldn't sort of say what he had to fit into the form of life. So quite an ironic title of an article actually. But yeah, so what he's actually explaining there is two very distinct forms of life. So just to clarify what we mean by that, because we've heard that quite a lot today. So the original idea around form of life comes from the philosopher called Ludwig Wittgenstein. And he used it to describe everyday behaviours, attitudes, customs, cultures. So right now in this room there's probably multiple different forms of life. So some people will be really engaged by some presentations because it just fits with where they're at, what they think, what they believe in, where other people might be a bit, I'm not sure about that. And the thing with the form of life, it's real, it's authentic. So it's not something that, we're reading about this football team are really good and they've got all this style of play, we'll copy that. That's not a form of life, that's just copying what somebody else does. But it actually might indicate a form of life that values replication. Okay, so I would be very wary when I said, we're copying this culture or we're copying what this other team does. That's not really a form of life, because when we take that away, that's then when the form of life is really there. Okay, so and using Bronfenbrenner's model, bioecological model, to really understand about that, a form of life is influenced by lots of different subsystems. So, and one of this is not hierarchy, by the way, it's a dynamical complex system where each individual subsystem can influence the developing individual. So at the heart of it, we've got an ecological niche. So really that's a set of affordances. So an ecological niche could be a team or a talent development environment or a club. And within that, the socio-cultural practices really influence the affordances, the available affordances, or how somebody might perceive, how responsive somebody is to the affordances of that environment. And we've got all these different subsystems interacting. So some data I'll show you in a sec, but when we did our first study, we actually found parents in certain talent development environments were more influential than the heads of performance or the heads of the academy in terms of what practice took place, which was really hard to understand. So when we talk about a form of life, it's more complex than just what's happening in the immediacy of a team, club, wherever. It's everything else that's influencing that as well. Okay? So just to think about that further, so those that are aware of Bronfenbrenner's model, there's sort of four key things that we need to consider. So the first one is process. So Bronfenbrenner spoke about proximal processes, so that's the daily, weekly interactions that we can have that influence our development. And that's really, again, this word I keep using, self-regulation. So now some people, what we get a lot is, these two players have experienced the same practice environment, but they've got different outcomes. Should they both be international players or both be national players or whatever? But it obviously depends on the individual. So a lot of this is dependent on the individual as well. It's not, we've had these interactions, that means you'll get this. It's not cause and effect. So it also depends on how the individual can self-regulate in these different environments. And then we'll have the person, so they can influence the emergence of different opportunities. Some can be very responsive to affordances, some cannot. some can learn to self-regulate in many different environments. So they might play for a school team, they might play for a talent development in a talent development environment, they might play for national teams, and they can deal with all these different environments. And then what I've just shown previously, so the different contexts, so macro, exo, meso, and micro, and then time. So as Marianne explained, 5,500 years. So that's development, that's influence across lots of generations. So that's essentially the theory using to explore and understand more about what a form of life is. So it's really taking ideas from Wittgenstein and trying to expand on that for a sport environment. So I understand there's lots of different interpretations of Gibson's work, but blending ideas from these Dutch philosophers, Rietmel and Kieverstein, we're sort of positioning forms as a relational nature. So relational, and I'm sure, knowing some people in the room, you can really relate to this, is that some environments in sport would provide lots of opportunities to engage in with the information of those practice settings, whereas others are quite suppressive, or even think in work environments. You probably have a boss who might create a form of life, or other people who create a form of life that's very suppressive, doesn't give you a lot of autonomy. You need to do things and feedback every day, very micromanaged type style, and of course we get that in sport as well. So, so we're really buying this relational nature. So the way somebody interacts with opportunities in the environment, the value and meaning is dependent on the form of life. Okay. So first study that we did, we wanted to take a critical realist approach, and we wanted to understand the socio-cultural, historical background of rugby league. Now, a lot of that we could do through various document analysis, reading a lot of work, historian type work from Tony Collins, but we also wanted to get the perception, experiential knowledge of coaches. So obviously coaches have a big influence on the talent development environment, quite obviously. So we interviewed a range of coaches, 24 in total, from across Super League, so work at the top end of the game, talent development, and also participation. And that was just to sketch out, using Bronf and Brenner's framework there, what the form of life was. Okay, so at the very top, it was considered hyper-masculine. There were lots of, I was joking before, but I was semi-serious, lots of practice like that, Marianne, sort of, not in terms of physical whipping and whatnot, but you're not getting far off. So hyper-masculine, a real value on being big, tough, strong, and not so much on dexterity and skill. Okay, and there's people, if you know the sport, predominantly played in the north of England, very working class backgrounds, and if we go back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, lots of people that worked and played and were trainers in rugby league would have been influenced by Taylor's system of management, where lots of repetition, lots of instruction, lots of feeding back from line managers, not a lot of autonomy from the workforce. So you can absolutely see how masculinity and replication are valued in sport. And then we went down to the exo system, where formal and informal learning was highly influential. And then, yeah, as I was saying before, so parents at two clubs that we spoke to talent development coaches and coaches, is that they were afraid not to provide practice that was different to what they might be seeing on the TV. So it had to look like, and if anyone knows the sport, it's highly repetitious, lots of structure, lots of set plays. So practice had to look like that. And they got threats from parents, oh, we'll take them to another club then, and they were quite afraid to lose these certain players. So, which was really interesting and quite hard to grasp, really. And then they all have an influence on the microsystem, the ecological niche, if you like, in terms of how practice is designed. So if something's going to be if we get coaches that are hyper-masculine, and there's plenty of them, trust me, there's lots of codes, there's lots of instruction, there's lots of full contact sessions where it's about being tougher than somebody else. So this is at quite a young age as well, not an emphasis on dexterity and skill and these types of things. So the first task to give us information and give us some sort of background in terms of socio-cultural influences before we went and then did an ethnographic study. So that's the first task we did. And just another direct quote from Bronfenbrenner here, just because sometimes, especially when you get reviews from certain journal, people that review your work from journals, that, surely, you're not influenced by 50, 60, 70 years ago, but, especially if you speak to a lot of sociologists, that's perfectly logical. It's not an exaggeration. And then something that sort of rang true to me, what Bronfenbrenner said, is the last sentence there. So the phenomenon can extend over the life course, through historical time, past and present. So really, it's really worth considering. And the question, if there's any coaches or one of those coaches in the room, is, what sort of things are you influenced by, and how are they impacting on what sort of practice design, what sort of information the players or athletes, whoever you're working with, how does that influence their development? And there's some really pertinent questions that we need to ask as coaches. So, why is it doing things certain ways, and how does that influence the young people or the talented adolescents that you're working with? So that was the first study, and then the second one, we did a season-long ethnographic study where I was an engaged participant, so I was a coach in a talent development pathway at a Super League club. And we just wanted to understand from a first-hand perspective what was going on really. So sometimes in interviews you might not get a true picture, you might not get a full picture, so we went set about doing that. So this is data accumulated from field notes, so before, during and after practice, so that could be team meetings, conversations with parents, conversations with players, observations obviously of the practice, also interviews. We interviewed all the coaches on several occasions, and also the head of the talent programme. Something that I would have liked to have done, but just because of time and the academy got a bit twitchy, I wanted to set up focus groups with the players immediately after practice, but just because of logistics that didn't really happen. So this is a combination of, document analysis as well. This is a combination of all that data. So the sort of higher order, or the dimensions if you like, so determinism was definitely one. So lots of this term I've stole from the coaches, but lots of robotic players. So players who can't think. They can only sort of do things when we tell them. And then, which is quite a frustration when you look at the practice and their behaviour. So the reliance on external features of the environment, so not them interacting with the environment. There's definitely a coaching paradox. So the head of the talent development pathway was educated to degree level and master's level, also done a level 4 coaching qualification. So he had a very specific idea about what practice and daily practices should look like. But then the coaches that were from the immediate area of the talent environment, or the club, they come through a level 1, level 2 route. I think one of them was educated to degree level. And this is not to say one's good, one's bad, but they just have different views on how young players should be treated, what sort of skills they should be learning, and those types of things. And then the socio-cultural influences, disciplined behaviour was huge. So there was lots of conversations about this is how the players should behave in terms of the way they speak, the way they think, the way they turn up and behave with each other. And I'm not talking, the fighting, just the way they should carry out the sort of daily activities. And again, masculinity was really prominent. Just the language, the swearing, the conversations with the players and coaches was at times quite worrying. How you might treat a horse. Yeah. So that's really where we're at in terms of understanding more about it. And the next stage, I suppose, is to understand what that means for how they interact with the environment. So for this study, we're just going to theorise that, or just doing that in a second. We're theorising what that means from research or writing around performances. Okay? I know it's not a very great slide for the presentation, but this is just some of the field notes from the study, just to explain a bit. So it was an 8v8 game, and the head of the talent development programme was really keen on players identifying and exploiting space. Key skill in rugby, so it's a key principle. So Mark spoke about principles. So well, in any invasion game, you need to identify and attack space. So they set up a game with a really wide pitch, which quite obviously would create lots and lots of space to exploit. But players didn't do that. They played it safe. They kept playing down the middle so they retained the ball. So then the coach brought them in, and it's never a question. It's never, well, I know he is asking questions, but the way he's interacting with them is quite aggressive. So of course, no one responds. They're quite afraid to respond, and then one of the more cocky, I'd like to say, the confident players, who's a really interesting young man actually, he then got into this dialogue, and they sort of got to where the answer is, and then it resumed, but they just went back to playing down the middle after a few goes of going wide, because you're really testing the skill of maybe passing quite a further distance, or running into space, these types of things. So they reverted back to playing down the middle, and this was just a common thing that you'll see all the time in the different games. So obviously, if we think about that in regards to their experiences, the players' experiences, and how they're interacting with the space environment, how certain different players are interacting in different ways, that's really interesting. So yes, the next steps really is all this research. I'm really keen to keep it in the real environment. It's going to be messy. It's not nice and clean, cause and effect type work. It's more exploring the different experiences of the players. So I want to use like a phenomenological framework to understand their lived experience of being in these different environments. So one thing that Keith and I and Joe, we're doing a book chapter in a minute, and we're sort of saying that we should be reconsidering talent development environments as an ecological niche. Okay, so rather than have talent development environments as cause and effect, so where you go in and do lots of repetitions of different techniques or whatever it may be in that sport, it should be based on value and meaning. So you're constantly having to tune to the environment. Through athlete functionality, so where we're continually interacting with different constraints. And that presents challenges, because especially if you're in a talent development programme, let's say that's awash with money, so you're going to have a strength and conditioning team, you're going to have psychologists, you're going to have physios, you're going to have obviously technical, tactical coaches. So one thing we're proposing at the minute, or not at the minute, but we're proposing is the department methodology. So that's where all of those individuals in that environment will act as designers, okay, to provide value and meaning. So, why isn't strength and conditioning built into the field-based sessions? Why, if there's an issue, does the player have to go and see the psychologist in an office that's totally devoid from the context of the pitch, of the dance? Now that will come with lots of challenges, of course, because some people might be working remotely anyway, but we need to move more towards a department methodology where we're collaboratively designing practice landscapes or performance landscapes. Okay? And that's it.